with a PhD, you have lots of opportunities in that area. So this message is just encouraging you that having your PhD, I'm not saying you must have your PhD, but if you decide to and something is holding you back, tell that thing that you are bigger than it and you can do your PhD. Okay, this is encouraging you that you can. Okay. Hello and welcome back to my channel. As most of you know, I'm a lecturer in the UK. I lecture at a higher education academy, and today I've just finished teaching and I felt that this topic might be interesting to you guys. As I was walking down towards the car, I thought that I should share, because I know that a lot of people have been asking me how they can do a PhD, and I felt that this is a very good time for me to talk about this. So I would say that if you want to do a PhD, do not think that it's difficult to do. It's not difficult. Okay. If I could do it, then you can. All right. At the time I did my PhD, I did it when I was having kids. I did it when I had 2 kids. And it was a bit challenging for me because throughout the period, I was going to the hospital. I was ill all the time. But I managed to skate through. I know that a lot of people are out there who are, they don't tend to encourage people. Like when I was doing my master's, I had the mind of doing a PhD. So I would always, the one thing with me is that I always like to look up to people ahead of me and then try to make friends with them, try to ask them questions, because of course that's what I actually want to do. So in my case, I was seeing people coming to the uni and I saw this black guy, which I thought is from the same country as me. Let me just ask him if he can put me through. So just towards the end of my master's, and I went to him, I asked him, I said, how can I would like to do my PhD. Can you tell me the steps required? And then he said, oh, don't even go there. The God that did it is just God. Funding is very difficult to secure. This one, that one. I said, well, I don't mind if I don't get the funding. I'm happy to self-fund. I self-funded myself during my master's degree. I don't really mind self-funding. I know it will be very tough, but I don't mind. He said, oh, it's very difficult. The whole process is difficult. And guys, this thing I'm telling you, at the time I used to see this guy with another lady. Both of them are blacks, and whenever I see both of them, they were carrying very big luggage suitcase. They'll be rolling it to the uni, and in my mind I'm like, is this thing really difficult? Is this thing really hard that people will be carrying physical books? And when I walked up to him, one of them, which is the guy I'm talking about, he made it really difficult for me to get in. So he gave me really, he didn't encourage me at all. So I felt that it was something difficult. But again, that didn't deter me. I was determined to find out more. I was determined to do my PhD just immediately after my master's. I didn't want to waste any time at all. So I started researching, and I just disregarded the guy's advice. I started researching, and I realized that once you write your proposal, and then there's a lecturer, a supervisor who a potential supervisor who is interested in your area, they'll be able to supervise you, and then of course you'll be able to start doing your PhD. So at the time, my supervisor for my master's degree, the guy had told me that he wanted to supervise me, and my visa was actually running out. So during the end part of my master's degree, I went to meet him and I said, I think I'm ready. I had the money in my accounts for my visa and everything. Everything was almost ready. I said, are you still going to supervise me? And he disappointed me last minute. So I took that proposal and I went to meet another potential supervisor. And that one was very good. He accepted me almost immediately. And then he asked me to tweak my proposal just a bit so that it will be something he's interested in. His area is business computing. So he wanted me to tweak my research topic to an area that he could manage. So which I did. And then he booked the interview within 2 weeks. And then after my interview, I applied for my visa. I got my visa and I started my PhD. Initially, it was a bit challenging because there was a lot of self-study going on. Nobody would teach you, like you go to classroom and an instructor or a lecturer is there teaching you. Nobody will teach you. But I managed to catch up. I managed to catch up a lot. And so the thing is, you do something like personal development plan where you plan out what you'll be doing for the next 4 years. So I followed that plan through. So when I started my literature review, I was basically just researching about the area and then seeing that there was a PhD is all about addition to knowledge. So nothing is new, okay? Nothing is new. People are just adding to knowledge. So for example, some people will come and say, okay, I invented this thing. A similar knowledge or might be existing. They just added to that knowledge. Okay, so with PhD, they are looking for that addition of knowledge. It's not all about originality, but in terms of what is new, in terms of what you're able to add to existing knowledge. Okay, so however, they will say that they are looking for something that is PhD able, a topic that is PhD able, in the sense that it's not something that people have done, it's not obsolete, is something that is current. Okay, there's a gap in knowledge that you're supposed to fill. That's the word. There must be a gap in knowledge. So if you're able to identify this gap in knowledge, you need to look for potential supervisors. And one of the ways you can do that, you visit the university website, you look at the staff section of the university and you see the academic staff, look at their research areas. If you're in law, if you're in computing, if you're in a medical area, look for lecturers in that area and then contact them. A lot of the time they will have their email or phone number. So reach out to them. Discuss your potential area that you would like to investigate. If it's an area that they feel that is outside their area or is obsolete, they might be able to help you by tweaking the area a bit to suit what they want. And then you can pick up a research topic from that amendments that they've done. And then from then you are able to you go through the application process, you go through the interview process and everything, and then you start your PhD. PhD, I would say, is one of the easiest degrees to do. Is one of the easiest, no matter how it is. Even if you're collecting primary data. So we have two types of data: primary data and secondary data. Primary data is where you collect data directly from people or from subjects. You're collecting the data firsthand. It's not something that people have done, that you are taking the data and then working on it. So that's secondary data. So even if you are collecting primary data, you are going to do the interview yourself, you're going to collect the questionnaire yourself. You are not taking an existing data that has been analyzed and then reanalyzing it to suit your area. It's still very easy to do. The only thing is you have to allocate a lot of time for that data collection. And then another thing that I found challenging was data analysis, because during the time, I had to learn a lot of data analytical tools. I had to use them myself. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I learned a lot. But at the end of the day, I graduated. And with PhD, nothing like first class, second class, or third class. It's either you pass or you fail. Or you pass with minimal correction or major correction. So if you pass with minimal correction, you just need to correct a few things, which they will definitely tell you in your letter. And if you pass with major correction, sometimes it may be resubmission, sometimes it may be a big chunk. But at the end of the day, if you pass, you pass. If you fail, you fail. That's it. And most people at the end of the day actually do pass. So this is a message to encourage people that actually want to do a PhD, that you can do it. If I was able to do it with 2 children, and then I was an international student, I self-funded myself. I was working, paying for rent, and I had just 20 hours on my student visa, you will be able to do it. Okay, so this is encouraging you to, if you want to pursue your PhD, is one of the easiest things you can do. The only thing is, if you already have family commitments, you have children, you might find it a bit of struggle. But once you get that degree, I guarantee that you will be very good, especially if it's an area that is hot cake, if it's an area that is evolving. Okay, if it's not an area that has lots of competition, okay, you'll be fine. I definitely believe that since having my PhD, I could switch for different job roles. I don't have to be a lecturer today. I don't have to be a software developer. So at the time when I finished my PhD, I started as a lecturer. From there, when I got tired of teaching, I wanted to get an industry experience. I started working as a software developer, full stack JavaScript developer, and then I self-taught myself as well. So the thing with PhD, having a degree, is that your research skills will be very, very fine-tuned. It will be at high level. And you have lots of transferable skills, like data analytical skills. You have your communication skills will be enhanced. Okay. Your team building skills will also be enhanced. There are lots of networking opportunities, and your networking skills will also be enhanced. So there are lots of transferable skills you can take from doing a PhD to the workplace, and this cuts across many business sectors. So even if today you decide to lecture, tomorrow you don't want to lecture, you want to be a data analyst, you want to be a software engineer. For example, if you're in the computing area, you want to be Salesforce developer like I did. You want to go back to teaching. I mean, with a PhD, you have lots of opportunities in that area. So this message is just encouraging you that having your PhD, I'm not saying you must have your PhD, but if you decide to and something is holding you back, tell that thing that you are bigger than it and you can do your PhD. Okay, this is encouraging you that you can. Okay, so like I said, I had lots of issues on the way. I almost dropped out, okay? But I managed to pick up. And I'm telling you today that with my PhD, it's very easy for me to get a job. It's very easy if I apply for any computing lecturer job. It's not that I would actually foresee the end. I will actually be able to know whether they will give me the job or not. And if I don't get it, most of the jobs I apply for, I get them. That's what I mean. Okay. The ones I don't get are very, very minimal. All right. Like one of the ones I didn't get, they said my research portfolio. So because at the time when I finished my PhD, I stopped researching. So I went into work for the NHS. I went into work in the industry. So after I worked in the industry as a developer, as a full stack JavaScript developer, at the time I was no longer researching. So my research portfolio was it was not current. So that was the only job I didn't get because of that research skills. So after the job interview, they actually called me and they said they really, really like me. I have both industry experience and the teaching experience, but they wanted more research. The job was more research focused. So this is one of the reasons I'm back to teaching, because where I'm currently teaching, they actually train you. You can grow. You grow in so many different ways. You can grow your research portfolio if you want. Okay. So if you want, so I just wanted to encourage you that if you really want to do a PhD, you can. And you know what, guys, you can do it part-time. You don't have to do it full-time. You can be working and also be doing it. Okay. So think about this. If you want to do it, know that you have someone encouraging you here. Okay. It's not very hard. You can do it. You can. So you should be the first fan of yourself. You should be the first encourager of yourself, okay, before any other person. And don't let anybody, like in my case, don't let anybody to discourage you. People did try to discourage me, but you should be determined. And once you are determined, you definitely get what you want, okay? So please take this as a piece of advice from me. If you're ready to do your PhD, you can leave a comment below. You can contact me on how to go about it. I'm open. I can help you, pull you through the process. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share with you. I think this video is getting long now, so I'm going to end this video now. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good evening, and we'll meet again in my next video. Bye.